Oh, I didn't see you there. Welcome back to another episode of Adam's Advice. If you recall last week, we talked about why having a budget is so important for you. We talked about how it facilitates long-term thinking, fosters discipline, and provides freedom. This week, I'd like to discuss a few more things. First, I'd like to show you an example of what a budget looks like. Second, I'd like to talk about the importance of investing. And finally, I'd like to give you 3 tips that will help you get started on your budget. So first up, let's take a look at an example budget. Let's go take a look. And here we have the example budget. First thing I want to talk about with this example is the household income. Now, I went to Google and searched this, and I found the average household income in America, and it was around $60,000. So I went ahead and put $61,000 there. I deducted about 12% for taxes, so I tried to get to a reasonable take-home pay and came up with a total monthly income of $4,500. Now, for illustrative purposes, let's just assume that this is your monthly income and what we could do with that. So this budget right here looks a lot like mine, my personal budget. I've added a few categories and I've taken some away to try to give you some ideas, but we start with the total monthly income and we want to take this amount and allocate it among all the categories. And it's very important, we want to give every dollar a home. So we start with contribution, and have just 10% as a starting point there. And then we move on to groceries, restaurant, your food. I think it's important to have restaurants in there. If you like to eat out, it's good to try to budget for that, and it gives you a guide instead of just kind of winging it. So I have a little amount there. Then we move on to housing, and here's all the things that I could think of off the top of my head that you might have to pay for and budget for. You have your mortgage and rent, $700 there, electricity, water and garbage, cell phone, $150, house furnishings, and then I have these empty categories. These are just some ideas. Maybe you have daycare, maybe you have a loan that you're paying on. And then we move on down to personal. Now, if we can scroll up a little bit, we will see all the things that we have to deal with a personal level. Vehicle, you might have a car payment, doctor, dentist, $25 a month. I mean, these things, they will have to be flexible, but these is a good starting point. Gifts, miscellaneous type of things, clothing, life insurance, your pet. And then we go to recreation, which is very important. You want to budget for some fun, or else you're just going to end up taking it out of your savings. So I have a kind of a goal here, some spending money just to spend on whatever you want, his and her, cable and internet, exercise, gym a little bit, and a vacation, planning for a little relaxation. And we have transportation, we have gas prices are going down, so maybe this number can change. But right now I have 150, depending on how far you're driving. Car insurance, repairs and maintenance on the car tags, if that applies to you. Then we get to the most important line of the budget, and that is what you have left over. Now, if this budget was applicable to you, you would have $500 left over, and then that would take care of the $4,500, which is the sum of this column. You would have $500 left to put towards your retirement or your savings goals. And this number, in my opinion, is the most important number. And so I would like to show you why this number is so important as we move on to the power of investing. Quick note, this is an Excel document, so we're going to leave a link in the description if you want to take a look at this in Excel and try to use it for yourself. And now, we're going to talk about the power of investing. But before we do, we're going to make sure we put a link to this website in the description so that you can play around with this calculator as well. We have Josh in the background. Say hello, Josh.
Hey.
He's going to help me navigate this screen as we walk through this. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pretend that the budget that we just looked at was your budget, and this is the first time you've ever started budgeting your funds. It's the first time you've started saving. So we're going to start with $0 and see what that can grow to. Years to save, we're going to pretend we're going to save for 30 years. That's our time horizon. Rate of return, we're going to go with an ultra-conservative 5%. Very conservative, because if you're saving for 30 years, you're probably going to have a lot of stock allocation. So we're going to say 5% on that. Additional contributions, what we saw from the budget, we have $500 a month based on the budget that we can put towards our investments. We're going to put that in per month, compounded annually, and that's going to come out in 30 years to be $409,000. Okay? Quite a big sum of money. So let's play around with this a little bit. Let's just say you earned 6% return, which is also very conservative. If you did that, it would jump up to $489,000. Let's say it was 7% return that you averaged if you were in stocks for 30 years. You'd be up to over $500,000. Now, $500 a month, that's really good, especially when you're just starting out and you have all those expenses. But over the course of your life, you're going to, pay off your loans, and you're going to make more money possibly. And so as your income rises, you're going to be able to save more. So let's say instead of $500 a month, let's just say over the course of 30 years, you were able to average $1,000 at 7%. You would have $1.1 million in 30 years. Let's say you're able to, let's say you go crazy. You do whatever you can to save and sock away as much as you can, and you're able to do $1,500 a month, which is not all that much when you think about it. $1.7 million in 30 years. Let's take the years down to 25. All right, let's take it down to 23 even. I'm trying to see how quick you can be a millionaire. Okay, in about 23 years. So if you start at 30, by 53 years old, if you save $1,500 at 7%, you'd be a millionaire almost in just 23 years. That is the power of compound interest. It's the power of the stock market. It's the power of investments and investing your savings to get returns. All right, so now we've shown you an example of a budget. We've showed you the power of investing. And let me tell you, on that website, if you have some time, get on that savings website and play around with it. Throw in $300,000 and see how much that's going to grow to in a few years. Have fun with it. Get in there. You need to get excited about investing your money because the possibilities are amazing. So now I want to leave you today with 3 points to help you get started with your budget. Number 1, your budget should be zero sum. And what I mean by that is every dollar of income that comes in and every dollar that you spend that goes out, you need to put in the budget so that everything that you do is recorded in the budget. You should be able to go into your budget, into every category, and add up the balance in every category, and those should sum up to equal the balance in your bank account. Now, sometimes you might have to make an adjustment because you've accounted for monthly income and you haven't received it all yet. That should be an easy adjustment. So that's number 1. Number 2, I would recommend reconciling your budget weekly. What I do personally is about every Saturday I take 15 to 30 minutes, give or take. It depends on how many transactions you have. But I kind of make sure all the transactions that we've made throughout the week are recorded properly, they're in the right location, and then everything matches up. And then I'm able to know on a week-by-week basis where I stand with the budget, and if I know whether I need to pull back on some spending or pull some funds out of this bucket and put it into this bucket. But if you wait to reconcile your budget and go through it month by month, it's going to become arduous and unenjoyable. So I would recommend doing it weekly. Number 3, you need to be flexible. Even the best laid plans, and that includes your budget, cannot account for everything. Things are going to happen. Repairs to your car are going to need to be made. You're going to have to buy new appliances, and it's hard to plan for all these things. So be flexible with your budget. Sometimes you're going to have to dip into that savings, that $500 a month. Sometimes you're going to have to fix the foundation on your house, and you may have to not be able to save money for 3 or 4 months, and that's okay. You just have to roll with the punches, and at least you know where you stand. But be flexible and stay the course. Well, I hope this video helped you today, and next week, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about investing, or maybe we'll talk about something completely different. I don't know. But until then, it's time. See you then.
It's lunchtime.
Number 2, you need to, I don't remember number 2.
Thinking number 2, and then just start.
Yep. Oh. Number 2, well, how am I going to sign off?
Thanks.